This is True Crime and Scene. Today, we dive into one of the most notorious unsolved mysteries in American history, the case of D.B. Cooper. This infamous figure hijacked a plane, extorted a ransom, and vanished without a trace, leaving a cloud of questions in his wake. But here's the twist: there was no physical evidence, no reliable witnesses, and no body. How could a man pull off such an audacious crime and simply disappear? It all began on the fateful evening of November 24, 1971. A man, later identified as D.B. Cooper, boarded Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 departing from Portland, Oregon, heading to Seattle, Washington. He appeared calm and collected, even ordering a bourbon and soda as he settled into his seat. Little did the passengers know that the man beside them was about to orchestrate one of the greatest mysteries of the 20th century. About 30 minutes into the flight, Cooper handed a note to a flight attendant, claiming he had a bomb. Panic flared momentarily. He opened his briefcase to reveal what the attendant described as a bank of wires and red sticks. The air was thick with tension as Cooper instructed the crew to comply with his demands to $100,000 in cash, for parachutes, and a plan to refuel in Seattle for a getaway. With the plane in the air, it became a game of nerves. The authorities initiated a tense negotiation, securing the ransom and the parachutes. It seemed like a nightmare unfolding before the eyes of the passengers. But in the shadows of the unfolding drama lay an incomparable twist. The FBI had no witnesses who could accurately describe Cooper. The allure of D.B. Cooper grew with every passing minute, turning him into an enigma that would haunt America for decades. Once the plane landed, the passengers were released, and Cooper appeared to know exactly what he was doing. The crew prepared to take off again, revealing a depth of calculation that sparked intrigue and fear. He ordered the flight to fly to Mexico, a plan that could easily collapse. But he was prepared for anything. No one knew who he was, and the clock was ticking. As the plane took off, Cooper instructed the pilots to fly at a low altitude of 10,000 feet, and suddenly, a fierce storm rolled in, obscuring visibility. It was an audacious risk, one that would soon culminate in perilous choices. As the flight continued toward the open skies, Cooper donned a simple black tie, slipped into a pair of dark sunglasses, and turned to the crew with an unnerving calmness. He was ready to leap into the unknown. When the moment arrived, he opened the rear staircase door and, just like that, he vanished into the night sky, parachuting away with the ransom money. And then silence. The initial shock turned into chaos as the crew realized he was gone. The plane landed back in a desperate search for clues, but no trace of the man who had just executed an audacious ape remained. The FBI sprang into action, launching an extensive investigation involving thousands of agents. They combed through every scrap of evidence, yet they could find nothing. No body, no parachute, and certainly no conclusive evidence that led them closer to D.B. Cooper's identity. The more they searched, the more puzzling it became. Weeks turned to months, and the case took on an almost mythical status. Various theories emerged. Had he died in the jump? Did he have accomplices on the ground waiting to facilitate his escape? Or was he, in fact, a seasoned skydiver? Investigators faced a labyrinth of possibilities, each more tangled than the last. While agency agents filled files with wild theories, the world began to obsess over the mystery. Conspiracy theories flourished. Speculation turned into media sensation. Was he a clever, disgruntled worker tired of the monotony of life? Many began to forge portraits of a man who became an icon of elusive danger. In a dramatic twist, the FBI tried to put together clues from the ransom money. They tracked down nearly all the serial numbers on the notes handed to Cooper. But while the money appeared in circulation, no signs of Cooper ever materialized. The investigation led to rampant misinformation and wild claims. including false confessions and supposed sightings. Yet with each lead, investigators met dead ends. Among the most peculiar revelations was that D.B. Cooper's case possibly involved government ties. Some speculated that he might have had intelligence connections. Could he have been trying to expose something or someone? The theory that captivated minds suggested he was an ex-Marine or even a special ops agent. But then came the most shocking twist of all. An anonymous letter arrived at the FBI's doorstep, claiming that D.B. Cooper was a high-ranking military official who had staged the entire incident as a cover. The claim spiraled through the agency, leaving them in disbelief. Was it possible? Were they chasing after a ghost who had connections far beyond their grasp? As the investigation stagnated, the years rolled on. The case turned cold, with little hope left for resolution. Did Cooper escape? Was he living under a different identity? Or had the storm that night claimed his life? The haunting uncertainty wrapped itself tightly around the case like fog in the night. But as they scanned the years and uncovered every old lead, a new piece of evidence emerged that threatened to change everything. A hiker stumbled upon remnants of what looked like a parachute buried in the dense forest just outside of the flight's trajectory. It sent sparks flying through the investigation, igniting a new wave of excitement. Could this be the missing link they had been searching for? With hope on the horizon, investigators prepared for a renewed search in the untamed wilderness. But could they finally unmask the infamous hijacker who had captivated the nation? Or would the specter of D.B. Cooper loom forever over their heads, a reminder of all that remained unseen? As the renewed investigation into D.B. Cooper gathered momentum, there was a palpable tension in the air. The hikers' discovery of what appeared to be a parachute had sparked a frenzy. Could this capture the essence of the man who had seemingly vanished into thin air? This was no ordinary search. It felt like a race against time to uncover the truth behind one of America's greatest unsolved mysteries. Within days, investigators set up a massive search operation in the wooded area where the parachute had been found. Officers combed through the dense foliage, each creak of a branch echoing the weight of unanswered questions. They recalled the hopelessness of the original investigation, memories of the ransom money slipping through their fingers like in an hourglass. Now, with a tangible piece of evidence in hand, a new hope ignited in their hearts. As teams of agents meticulously searched the area, they discovered fragments of evidence, pieces of fabric consistent with a parachute, some cargo straps, and a few scattered dollar bills marked from Cooper's ransom. But while these discoveries were analyzing, they didn't provide the clear answers investigators so desperately needed. Still, they pressed forward, fueled by the desire to finally identify the man behind the legend. Then, amid the excitement, they received a tip-off from a local resident that sent shockwaves through the investigation. The woman claimed she had witnessed a mysterious figure matching Cooper's description around the time of the hijacking. Eyewitness accounts can be shaky at best, but the timing and location piqued the interest of investigators, drawing upon the voice that echoed through the years. The woman explained, "He stood out like a hawk watching from the trees." She mentioned a peculiar interaction she had with him. "He approached me in a dark jacket and sunglasses, muttering something about a storm." Her cryptic comment hinted that Cooper had possibly scoped out his escape route before executing the bold heist. With this new lead in hand, authorities sought to piece together a timeline of events, crossing reference points with other sightings. They started mapping Cooper's potential trajectory after his daring jump. But as the layers unfolded, tension began to mount among investigators. What if they were chasing phantoms? All roads seemed to converge, yet led only to dead ends. But the twist didn't end there. A cryptologist working tirelessly on Cooper's infamous ciphers made a startling breakthrough. After scrutinizing the letters, he spotted a potential correlation to other unsolved hijackings. This connection suggested that Cooper might not have acted alone. Could there have been a sinister network that helped orchestrate the entire operation? The specter of conspiracy loomed ever larger as rumors began to spill into the public perception. What if D.B. Cooper was a mere pawn in a greater game? The thrill of the chase rekindled the public's interest, and theories once again permeated throughout news outlets. Was Cooper part of a secret society? A criminal mastermind with ties to something far darker than anyone could imagine? As the weeks continued, investigators began to face scrutiny themselves. The public began questioning their methods. Why had they taken so long to connect the dots? Speculation turned into resentment as pressure mounted for the FBI to finally resolve this decades-long enigma. But within the turmoil, tensions flared between agents as a new faction sprung up. Some were determined to pursue this newfound conspiracy theory. Others believed in following more conventional leads. Amid the chaos, a package arrived at the FBI office containing an audio tape marked and worn. Curiosity turned to fear as agents played the tape. The voice on the recording was deep and gravelly, announcing, "I'm D.B. Cooper." The chilling introduction gripped every listener. The voice claimed the tape was meant to confirm Cooper's survival and detailed a secretive life he had been living for decades. He discussed the hijacking as if it were just a stepping stone in a larger plan. The authenticity of the tape sparked heated debate. Was this the man behind the legend finally ready to reveal himself? As analysts raced to authenticate the recording, the prospect of closure loomed closer. Each tick of the clock magnified the suspense. The world held its breath, waiting for what could potentially solve a mystery that had captivated minds for generations. Was this the moment they had all been waiting for? As the audio analysis progressed, word began to leak that the FBI was potentially close to identifying Cooper's real identity. Discussions of old case files swirled and a name surfaced: a former aerospace engineer who had access to flight paths and had mysteriously vanished shortly after the hijacking. Could it be? With every developing lead, the noose around Cooper's mystery tightened. Time marched on, but the specter of Cooper's shadow loomed larger. With little left to lose, agents prepared for a confrontation, racing against the clock to either confirm or debunk the deception behind the audio tape. With the story nearing its climax, the anticipation became unbearable. Would they finally unmask a man who had become larger than life, the incredible D.B. Cooper? The hunt was drawing to a head, with final pieces falling into place like a grand jigsaw puzzle, revealing the cryptic nature of the man they had been after. As days turned to weeks, the FBI made a startling announcement: "We believe we're close to bringing a suspect in for questioning." The room filled with hope, but a shadow flickered at its edges. The truth felt tantalizingly close yet painfully far away. The enigmatic legacy of D.B. Cooper may not have reached its final chapter, but each twist leads us closer to the heart of the mystery. What truth lies buried deep in the forest? Will the elusive hijacker finally meet his reckoning? Stay tuned as we unveil the gripping conclusion to this iconic story. The truth is waiting to be revealed.